first row in the march?
Support.
Just support?
To combat terrorism.
I mean, it's very strange for me when you have a representative of a state that commits terrorist acts against occupied people, the Palestinians, walking in the front row, as if you have the killer walking in the funeral of those who he killed. That looks to me as very strange, the first row.
Not for Bibi Netanyahu, it's not strange. He's playing internally, he's approaching the elections, and he has to show his strong support for the Jews, for the
Was he invited in that march?
Well, they didn't tell me.
Well, I read reports. I read reports.
I think
but I read reports that it was recommended that he not take part.
Is that right?
That's what I read in one of the reports, one of the newspapers.
So that's why people were astonished.
That's why it was very strange, and that's why I'm asking.
Front row, and he was in the front row,
And that was actually from an Israeli newspaper.
Oh my God.
I don't want to name it, but this is a report I read basically coming from an Israeli newspaper.
Something like
Why was he adamant to be there? Elections is one, as you had mentioned.
And the newspaper itself, it's mainly
But France had taken an important step a month earlier, or over a month earlier, in the National Assembly, recognizing the state of Palestine.
Exactly.
By over 200 votes in the National Assembly, and statements coming out from other Europeans, but here I'm referring to France because the incident took place, or the terrorist act took place in France. Statements coming out from Israel, from the Prime Minister, from the Israeli ambassador in the United Nations, were all very tough against France and this vote that took place. Isn't it a little strange?
Contradictory, maybe contradictory. But I think there is a plan, like His Excellency was saying. Now they are looking for their own welfare. Will be something better for him, will better his picture, maybe something like that. But definitely we had questions about him attending. And in the front row, meaning that I am with you. You are with them and you are killing. It's a big issue.
And Bibi Netanyahu, as a politician, has been for so long, in the political life, I think his reading of the situation, that if he's absent, his absence will be felt more than his presence. Right, because the attack took place against a Jewish newspaper, and maybe he feared that because of this kind of criticism, that would confirm that Israel is committing all these crimes against the Palestinians, so on and so forth. So I think his calculation was it's very important to be there to prove that they are adopting a fair policy, and what the kind of trend of recognition by different European parliaments of Palestine as a state is something, if he's absent, it will be even felt more.
Harm politically.
Yeah.
All right. On the media level, Rupert Murdoch, the media tycoon, the Australian media tycoon who owns Sky, came out attacking Islam and so on and so forth.
This is not strange.
But where does this bring or put the media in combating terrorism? If you are talking about a move on the political level, there has to be a move on the media level.
What kind of terrorists are we fighting? Number one, is it in the United States and Europe, or they are attacking our area of the Middle East? Terrorists are coming from there, from Muslims, from Arabs, from this area as a whole. And it's known that Fox, for instance, is not fair in its presentation. Lots of bias is going on there, as we said earlier in our talk. So it's normal. It's just normal to find something like that.
Fox was it depends on the agenda, basically. Fox, the Republican...
The interest of the...
Against NBC or CBS, the Democrat, if you will. And so you have this conflict.
Okay, shifts according to the interest. Some of the agenda we do not know. Many of the things are taking place right now, we do not know.
Is it time that the media clarifies its priority and tries to separate the ownership and the political affiliation from what is being broadcast? Is it time that the media take on a totally different responsibility than
Should
the
being dictated?
Being dictated and the financing and funding?
Because this will shed light on whatever they need. It's like the policy of the newspaper. If you're not with the policy, we're not going to talk about that topic anymore. And it is there. The topic is there.
But those are countries that have media outlets. What about media outlets that have created countries?
That's why I wanted to ask you a question. Which media are you talking about? Are you talking about the Middle East, the Arab media, or the foreign media?
International media.
I would prefer to understand that you mean our media, right? And our media.
Now I'm moving to our media.
Yeah, but our media carries a heavy responsibility, not necessarily in supporting our arguments, because this kind of light treatment of issues or loud voices, having this kind of shows, which hurt us more than it benefits us. Second, the Western leaders know that there are maybe Arab countries, Muslim countries are taking part and supporting these terrorist groups. So the situation altogether, that's what I said, you need a complete package. You have to reveal all facts, or at least you treat them, right, in order to diffuse the old kind of relationship between the Arab and Muslim countries from these groups, and to disengage completely between Islam and those who Islamized terrorists.
That's a very big task.
Of course. Well, it's worth it, because the danger is even very, very, very big, and I think it's could be the most serious challenge in the 21st century.
Beginning of the century, and new problems are arising, and we have to cope and we have to deal, and the world is changing, and we have to catch up. Otherwise, we'll be lagging behind. This is the beginning.
All right, but when you're talking on the national scale, usually the biggest enemy in any country are two: poverty and ignorance. Would you say that this phenomena would be reduced if you can boost the country's economy, start production, start having investments coming in, and so on and so forth?
Definitely. Development is a big answer to all this kind of dangers. Development, economic and social. It's not. That's why you have to remember when the young people took to the street on 25th of January, they were asking for social justice. This is a key, that it should be part and parcel of our economic development. And I strongly, admire the kind of efforts are being exerted at this stage by the Egyptian government. There is at least a clear recognition of the kind of problems that we are facing. We have just listened to part of the President's statement, that we are in a very, very bad situation, and we have a long way to go. So this kind of recognition would, and bringing the Egyptian society, together, and this is a spirit which you can see, because the Egyptian people are very clever. You cannot deceive them. And now they believe that there is a new government, a new president, and a president was chosen not by the box. They were chosen by millions of in the streets.
But he was chosen by the box.
I said not only. Not only.
Right.
I think before the box, he was chosen. In the third.
Your Excellency, a pleasure having you. A very quick question. Let's take us to the upcoming economic conference.
Yes.
Dr. Professor of Mass Communication in Media and the head of the television department. A pleasure to have you on the show, Your Excellency Ambassador Raouf Saab. the former Assistant Foreign Affairs Minister. Thank you very much for being with us.
It's a special pleasure to be with you. In a long time we haven't been together.
Beautiful discussion questions.
No, in fact, he's taking our place, He's
Thank you very much.
Electronic diplomacy.
I'm Salah, wishing you a very good night. Tomorrow, another debate here on Nile TV International.